All right, I'm going to read you guys a quote because I think it's super relevant to what's happening right now. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Now, this is hitting home for me because I've been through so many different cycles, including the 2017 ICO boom and, cycles with myself and my businesses and basically going broke, having to move back in with my parents and then, experiencing a lot of wealth in a very quick period of time after that. And, it's very true. It's true with pretty much everything. Working out, running. It's true with your passion, right? It's true with your business, if you have a business, or it's even true with the organization you're working for. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. People are scared right now. They're panicking. I see other influencers folding under pressure. In this video, I'm not only going to give you guys the confidence to understand what the long-term cycle is looking like with Bitcoin and altcoins, but I'm also going to show you 3 altcoins that I recently sold a lot of Ethereum for, and I think it's really important. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another video, and of course I dump my Ethereum all the time when I think there's a good chance that we're going to get some percentage gains on some altcoins or something that's going to outcompete Ethereum. I never get rid of all of my Ethereum, so please understand where I'm coming from. I'm selling the Ethereum for other altcoins, which most of you probably already do anyways. There's 3 altcoins in this video we're going to talk about towards the end. And I also want to back up this altcoin season that's going to happen better than anybody else has ever done on the internet before. It's going to be more detailed. I'm going to provide more evidence than anybody else has ever done. This is my unique research. I am not regurgitating what people on Twitter or with other YouTubers and other analysts are saying. I'm telling you right now, this is only my information, and no, you cannot find it anywhere else on the internet. If you appreciate the quality work that I'm putting into these videos, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, turn post notifications on. I'm getting really passionate about my videos because there's a lot of misleading information out there. So I want to take a quick second to show you guys how you could help other people. Right now, there's a huge dump. I know a lot of you are already smart. I see the comment section. You guys are already buying the dip. You're already super confident, right? You know that there's volatility in crypto. But let's share these videos with other people that are not, confident about the market right now. There's a lot of people that are thinking that it's going to be the end of the market. Like they literally are thinking the bull run is over, and that's absolutely ridiculous. So I have a plan, okay? In the pinned comment below, I'm going to leave it as a pinned comment. You're going to see the first link, and this is going to be a playlist. In the past couple of days, I've probably come up with the best videos I've ever made in my life. And these are basically showing the confidence I'm having in number 1, altcoin season, and number 2, the next leg of the bull run. I think it's almost impossible for the market to end right now, and you need to share this with as many people as possible. These 4 videos are all they need to understand the longer, broader cycle. Everything right now is short-term manipulation, and all you have to do is click this link, copy it right here, and I'll leave the link again in the pinned comment below. Share it with as many people as possible. Share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook. Send some messages. Take the link, send some messages to your friend that's involved with crypto that thinks it's a Ponzi scheme, that lost 40% of his money. They need to know what's going on because they could sell at the worst possible time, right before the huge run we're about to experience. And for the rest of the video, I'm going to justify this huge expanding cycle that's recently happened in the market and how we are not going down, and it's not the end of the bull run. And I'm so confident about that I'm all in with my portfolio, and I'm still buying altcoins even today's date, guys. You have to pay attention to what's going on. You can't look at the short term. You can't look at the sentiment. People will manipulate you. So again, guys, take the link. It's basically a playlist, so they get to see all 4 videos. These videos are really, really important, and share it with somebody that might, have some issues with the market or whatever the case is. So let's jump into the actual topic of discussion here. So I believe that a lot of people are doing something called availability bias, and I've seen it all over the internet. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it actually kind of pissed me off because they actually don't know what they're talking about. So basically, availability bias is a distortion that arises from the use of information which is most readily available, rather than which is necessarily most representative. So this is a big thing that's happening, especially with the stock to flow model. There's this whole entire, I guess you could say, debate on Twitter from all the quote unquote smart people in cryptocurrency. Twitter's not the smartest place for crypto. I'm just gonna be clear with you guys, but they keep going back and forth about this stock to flow model and how it's basically invalidated. It's not gonna work because, you know, it took too long. So I wanna go over it briefly to break it down for you. Basically, how it works is it takes into consideration Bitcoin's decrease in issuance. And we've been talking about issuance in the past couple of videos. In the same videos I'm telling you guys to share the playlist with, these videos I've been going over how the issuance of Bitcoin is super important for the cycle. And what I want to do right now is also explain that it's not just the negative issuance. It's not just, you know, Bitcoin halving and the cycle. It's also demand. Those are the two things that's going to catalyze the next leg of the bull run. And I think demand is probably more important than the decrease in issuance. You could see that the effects were lowering over and over. As the cycle expanded, we had less positive effects for the Bitcoin halving. Now it's going to be demand. What is the new demand that's going to happen? I want to kind of break that down for you. So you can see the peak of Bitcoin kind of happened at the exact point that the stock to flow model predicted the top of Bitcoin, right? And then we had kind of like a little expanding cycle, the last bull run in 2017. And basically you can see that it peaked out not close to the top here, but a little bit after, right? So we can expect the same thing. And I'm going to talk about, you know, the expanding cycles and the stock to flow model and stuff like that. But we can basically have the same thing where it peaks way further away from the top here. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to happen, you know, towards the end of 2022. I think it's going to prolong for 8 to 12 months. I've been saying this over and over again. I think the bull run is just going to take more time this time, right? And it's because instead of, you know, the decrease in issuance being the main catalyst, we're going to have demand be the main catalyst. And I'm going to show you how much demand has been backing up Bitcoin and Ethereum for recent history. So if we look at negative issuance, it's kind of adding to exactly what I'm saying. Every single time we have this negative issuance right here, we have Bitcoin increasing in value. Not only does the effect decrease, because look at the percentages, right? Bitcoin didn't increase as much as it did over here in this recent cycle, even in 2017. But not only is it the negative issuance, but it's also the amount that it's decreasing is less and less, and that's hard programmed into Bitcoin. It's called the halving cycle. So believe it or not, through every block reward, you know, back in the day when Bitcoin was first created, there was 50 Bitcoin minted, and then it was 25, then it was 12.5, and right now it's 6.2. So every halving cycle, the issuance drops, but it's less and less, which is diminishing the effects of this decrease in issuance. And this is super important because supply and demand is probably going to be the biggest catalyst right now for cryptocurrencies as a whole. Okay, so we got to stop looking at, you know, what we know in the past with the stock to flow model, everything we know about Bitcoin and crypto in the past, right? Stop having recency bias. Don't just talk about things that, you know, everybody's been talking about. Let's look to the future. Let's try to innovate a little bit, right? And this is where I was saying in the, you know, the intro, nobody's sharing this information because nobody's created it yet. Okay, it's as simple as that, right? So I want to show you some proof that we're going to have a ridiculous, you know, expanding cycle. It's going to last longer than the last one. You know, last information stock flow model is pretty much irrelevant. As you can see here, I've showed you guys this before, but there's kind of two big narratives in crypto. The first one is a superior form of money. You know, this can take the market cap of gold because it's a store of value. And we can have fiat or stable coins come in, which is kind of like a form of money. And this can like integrate into DeFi and all financial markets. And then we have the utility narrative, which is basically layer ones, DeFi, layer twos, NFT, Web3, gaming, or every website. What have you noticed? The second side, the utility side, is much bigger, way more bigger than all financial markets. It's way bigger than money. It's basically all of art, all of gaming, all value transfer on planet Earth will happen on the utility narrative. So what I'm explaining here is although money, right, and this will kind of like align with Bitcoin's decrease in issuance, that's like the money side, although that's been the catalyst for the cryptocurrency markets for the past, 10, 12 years, utility narrative is much bigger, like I would say, you know, thousands of magnitude bigger than a superior form of money. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. But here's some more proof about expanding cycles. You could see that when Bitcoin peaked in 2011, it was much quicker than it was in 2013. and even quicker than when it was in 2017. So you can see that every time we have a peak in Bitcoin's price, it takes longer. It takes much longer. So you can see that this article, or whoever was drawing this out, kind of like drew it out saying, hey, is it going to peak in 2023? This is kind of adding to what I was saying. It's probably going to peak at the end of 2022. That's basically, my prediction for the whole entire cryptocurrency markets, and I'm gonna back that up with more proof. So you can see, and I just want to be very clear, that we have like an expanding cycle, and this whole, stock to flow narrative was pretty much invalidated. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies don't move off of decrease of issuance anymore, or it's a supply shock. It doesn't move off supply shock, okay? It moves off utility, right? And what's happening, what's being built on these different layer ones, as well as the gaming metaverse, as well as NFTs, and I'm gonna prove that to you. I'm not just saying things, I'm gonna back it up with evidence. So if we come over here to proof, this is where it gets a little bit out of hand, and I'm, again, the first person that made this. We're gonna be looking at Bitcoin's price, and I wanna jump into, some catalysts of what, Bitcoin did back in the day. Now, the first thing is, of course, Bitcoin halving is a huge catalyst. So if we come over here to the recent halving, you can see that, after that, we basically, started the bull run. This is not the recent halving. This is the one from 2016, 2015. So that one started the last, big run in Bitcoin's price. And then we have another big catalyst, which is the ICO boom, okay? The bull run started off of the decrease of issuance, or the Bitcoin halving. And then the ICO boom kind of put the icing on the cake, right? And this kind of brought Bitcoin, to move. In the first case, this is money. In the second case, this is, utility narrative, okay? Now, I want to show you the search term because this kind of shows when it started, May 2017, and this is around May 2017. And if you guys know what, the ICO is, it's basically initial coin offering. This is kind of like, what was the big like bubble pop back in the last cycle. So this is gonna be really relevant to what's happening now. So if we bring it to this cycle, let me make these pictures a little bit smaller so you can see. So Bitcoin halving here, same thing similar to what we have there. Okay, Bitcoin halving here starts the bull run, okay? Now, I wanna show a couple things. There's a couple other utility narratives that's really important. DeFi boom, okay? This was a huge, kind of like ICO type of effect, right? Where everybody was jumping into DeFi projects. There was like a big DeFi altcoin season. If you've been following me on my channel for a while, we called it back in the DeFi, altcoin season, and a lot of money was made, okay? So you can see that from the DeFi boom, it kind of, helped Bitcoin out in all of cryptocurrency. And I'm gonna bring this back to Ethereum so I can show you more. It gets really, really interesting. So DeFi kind of helped. This is the utility narrative. Then we have the NFT boom literally right here. And you could look at the search term history. Literally, as it started to take off, Bitcoin's price increased. Same thing with the DeFi boom. As soon as DeFi took off, price increased, right? Same thing with the Metaverse. We have this jump in Bitcoin's price with the Metaverse. Now, this is super interesting because, like I said before, if we go back to the last cycle, it's very simple. We only had two. We had the Bitcoin halving and the ICO boom. Now we have the Bitcoin halving, the DeFi boom, the NFT boom, Metaverse and gaming boom. Okay. Now, super interesting because if we look at Ethereum's price, it gets out of hand. It gets out of control. So we're looking at pretty much the same exact dates, but instead we're looking on Ethereum. So this is ETH USD on the weekly time frame. So if we come over here, you can see from the original ICO boom back in the day, 2015, 2016, 2017, the last cycle, Ethereum after the ICO boom went up 2,562%. That's so interesting, right? It went crazy. That's the utility narrative. And what cryptocurrencies get the most adoption when there's a utility, right? It's Ethereum and layer ones that have the smart contract capability. They move into Ethereum, not Bitcoin. So really, I showed you guys the last one on Bitcoin's price and how, these utility narratives affected Bitcoin, but it's more prominent in Ethereum. Ethereum got the most of it for sure. So if we look at ETH, you can see that I'm kind of doing the same thing. So Bitcoin halving, kind of starts Ethereum. The anticipation of the Bitcoin halving started Ethereum, right? Then we have the DeFi boom. The DeFi boom brought Ethereum up 573%. That's crazy. Now, if we look at the NFT boom, it brought Ethereum up 217%. Now, Metaverse, and I know I drew this little prediction here. We're going to do a little prediction, a little Ethereum price prediction. But the Metaverse, since it launched, it only brought Ethereum up 20%. So that's super interesting to me. So I had to break the numbers down, okay? So what I basically did is I took the percentage of the ICO, I took the percentage of the DeFi boom, I took the percentage of the NFT boom, and I added them together and divided by 4. So I got the average of all of it. It's pretty startling, but it's about 3,990 something percent. Now I was like, okay, that's the average of them, but considering the law of diminishing returns, considering the fact that it's gonna be harder to push the price of Ethereum up because there's more money involved, let's just divide it by 4 again, so I can be super, super conservative. I don't want to make predictions that I'd rather undershoot predictions than overshoot. So the average is coming in, if we do the right average of the last, utility narratives, it's coming in around 4,000%. Okay. I'm dividing it by 4 just for the heck of it, just so I know I'm right, just so I make sure I'm right. So I divided by 4 again. So that's obvious, coming around 1,000% increase. So if we look at Ethereum's price from when the Metaverse utility narrative, which by the way, I think it's the biggest of all of them, right? It's so big that Facebook rebranded their whole entire business model, okay? Nike just got into the Metaverse and NFTs literally a couple of days, yesterday. It got in yesterday or 2 days ago, right? So I think it's the biggest thing ever, to be honest. I think it's bigger than all of them combined, but let's just take the average, right? Let's just take the average, but not only the average, but let's divide it by 4 so we know for a fact we're undershooting. Now, if we look at it, the time horizons are irrelevant, but 1,000% increase from when the Metaverse utility narrative started, that would be a price of $40,000 ETH. So if that doesn't tell you something that the cycle is not even close to over, I don't know what does. Let me give you some more evidence. So let me show you how early we are, right? I took the same search terms and I compared them all together, right? So we have the Bitcoin halving search term, which is green, and it's not even there, which is crazy. That's so crazy. Meaning it's not even relevant, right? It's not relevant at all. The Bitcoin halving, like I told you guys, is not going to be the big catalyst anymore. It's going to be demand, right? But look at everything else. Look at the ICO boom. The ICO boom catalyzed the last leg of Ethereum and Bitcoin last cycle, and it's not even close to where the search terms are now. Look at NFT. Look how big NFT is. It's crazy. Look how much search traffic it's getting. Look how much the Metaverse search term is getting. And then look at DeFi. Absolutely nothing. So let's bring it back a little bit, right? I'm scaring some people right now. I get it, right? Do me a favor, like the video, share the playlist, guys. Share the playlist with as many people as possible. They need to know this information, but let's look at it a little bit. Let's bring it back home because it gets overwhelming, okay? The DeFi boom only brought up Ethereum by 573%, and it is the worst one besides Bitcoin halving. Literally, DeFi is not even relevant right now at all. It's not relevant in, retail search term, right? Now, if we bring it back up, NFT boom, that's the biggest one. You could see it. This is the biggest one by far, right? But look at Metaverse. It's just getting started. I think it might be bigger than NFT. It's just getting started. It's going to have a peak, it's going to drop, and it's going to probably boom. It's either going to be NFT or Metaverse that's going to really push, the demand for cryptocurrency in the last leg. So yeah, we're just getting started, and let me show you more evidence. We talked about crossing the chasm, right? I genuinely believe we're right here. We're starting the early majority for sure. And I think that's due to the NFT and Metaverse being more user friendly. People understand it a little bit better. It's more fun. It's not finance, right? Nobody cares about finance, right? So I think the early majority is starting to adopt. And you can see this because, the big brands like Nike, Ubisoft, all the biggest gaming brands, all the biggest brands on planet Earth are just starting. So the early majority is warming up right now. Okay, now it's gonna blow your mind a little bit, but look right here. If we look at the hype cycle in the same period of time, you can see early adopters investigate right around here. And read this: first generation products, high price, lots of customization needed. Does that not sound like where we're at right now? With Ethereum being super expensive, all these layer ones getting the adoption. Think about it. Ethereum's super expensive, it's bulky, it's slow, it's not good with user interface. So what has been the recent trend? Think about it. The recent trend has been, a push towards other layer ones. And that's super important because read this again: first generation products, high price, lots of customization needed. Does that not sound like what's exactly happening right now with early adopters investigating? We're somewhere right around here, okay? Mass media has not jumped in yet, okay? I'm telling you right now, mass media has not jumped in, and I think we're still gonna have a massive altcoin cycle, which will lead me to the altcoins we're going to talk about at the end of this video, of course, right? Now, I do want to explain a principle that, I didn't make it up, but it's pretty obvious, what it means. And it's basically going to line up how demand is going to play a big role in the future. But basically, there's something called peer-to-peer technology. Everybody's heard of this before. It's like LimeWire. It's a lot of these torrent websites. It started with that. Now, Bitcoin's a peer-to-peer. Ethereum's peer-to-peer, right? And the beauty of it is the fact that, peer-to-peer, people can, make sure it works, okay? You don't need like control to make it work. You don't need like a government to say, yes, make it work. It works no matter what. And you can't take it down for that reason. It's almost like power to the people. It's decentralization. It's why we're all here, right? It's why I even started this YouTube channel in the first place, is because it's bringing power back to the people and taking it away from the man, okay? That's how it works. Everybody's working together, okay? Now, another thing I've noticed is a lot of YouTubers, a lot of influencers keep harping on like, hey, institutions are going to adopt these guys with big money on their balance sheet. They're going to throw Bitcoin. That's great. I get it. But that's not where the big adoption is going to happen. Okay, so let me explain a concept. This is written by me, and I'm telling you, this is like original research. Controlled demand versus uncontrolled demand. Okay, so I want to explain the concept and the difference. Okay, the first one is controlled, meaning someone has to give us the green light. Somebody has to say, hey, this can happen, right? It's ETFs. For example, spot ETF was just banned, right? They halted the spot ETF, but the futures ETF was, accepted, right? Stable coins, right? A government has to say, hey, we're going to accept, these stable coins, and it's going to happen. We're going to put in regulation. It's going to work. Okay. The governments have to say if that's going to be allowed or not. Right. Countries adopting Bitcoin, it has to go through legislation. It has to go through so many different people. We see it in El Salvador, but other countries have like this whole system that a lot of people have to give the green light for Bitcoin to be adopted in countries. Right. And I wrote it again on accident, but government-backed digital currencies, which is the same thing as stable coins. Right. So there's another thing I like to say, which is uncontrolled demand. Okay, uncontrolled demand, in my personal opinion, is so much more important. We went to talking about supply shocks, all the way to how demand is going to be a big thing. Now, uncontrolled demand, the government has no say how that works. Okay, this is like publicly traded companies adopting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. This is like exchanges allowing Bitcoin purchases, or exchanges allowing Bitcoin trades, like for example, Cash App and stuff like that, and PayPal, right? This is DeFi, this is NFTs, this is Metaverse, this is people accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment. These are uncontrolled demand variables that are moving the market right now. So nobody can regulate it, nobody can stop it. Now DeFi, I would argue that it could probably get regulated, but people are using it regardless of regulation or not, right? There's decentralized autonomous organizations with no like person to hold accountable that are running right now. And I would argue that if regulation came in, it would still be uncontrolled demand. Like people would still use it regardless of regulation. So I would argue that, but it's a little bit in a gray area. But the important part that I'm trying to explain here is that it's peer-to-peer technology, guys. Why are we worried? Okay, why are we worried about helping the man? Like I'm looking at the softwares, for example. I look at Nansen, I look at Glassnode Insights, and a lot of softwares are used for on-chain metrics, trading view. Like most of them are going to try to help institutions. I even had a talk with this guy that's trying to make a crypto company, and he's really credible, like super credible. And he's like, hey, I want to help people with a lot of money get into cryptocurrency. I'm going to give them a risk model. I'm going to give data to people that have a lot of wealth. And it's like, you're limiting yourself, man. The money, the demand, everything is in the people, guys. Everybody's missing the point. Like, it blows my mind. Even like influencers in the space, the way they talk, it's like they want to talk to people with money, and they're partnering with hedge funds. And it's like, guys, the real adoption happens with you. This is why I made a YouTube channel and not a hedge fund. I could have made a hedge fund, guys. This is why I went the route, that I went, right? And I'm just like really passionate about it. It's like everyone's missing the freaking point right now. Everyone's missing the point. Crypto will be adopted by the masses in the world that need it, okay? Uncontrolled demand is where it's going to happen, and it's power to the people. Stop, like if you're a crypto entrepreneur right now, stop trying to accommodate like rich people. Like There's too many barriers of entry. There's so many other adoption mechanisms that can happen. Pay attention to what's really going on, please. The whole essence of crypto is decentralization. You are missing the point. So, sorry, I'm going on a rant. I apologize. But let me just go into just really briefly some Ethereum on-chain metrics. I'm going to dive deeper in some next videos on Ethereum on-chain metrics, but just to briefly look at active addresses and new addresses, something I kind of noticed towards the end of me making this video. You could draw your own conclusions, but very simple. If we look at the last cycle, and let me just kind of briefly, point it out. The blue is new addresses on Ethereum, and the kind of gold yellow is active addresses on Ethereum. So there's obviously a difference. New means like new wallets. Active means people are trading, right? Very simple. So you can see before the boom, there was more active trading, and new addresses wasn't keeping up. But as we started booming, as we started getting this jump, we saw that new addresses were being generated and they were on par. They were really on par. They were really close, right? The amount of new and active addresses were very similar, okay? But after we kind of had this dump here, this is not the Ethereum price, but we had a dump there. After we had this little dump, we had more active addresses than new in this period of here. And this period kind of reminds me of what's happening literally right now. It reminds me of what's happening right now because, again, we have this jump. It's similar, not exactly, but we're on par right around this area here, right? Right around this area here. Then we have this period of more active addresses than new, okay? And then I think with this next boom, we're going to have a lot of new addresses coming into the market. Like, look, like these are not even reaching the amount of new addresses. This is like pure evidence to retail not being in the market yet. The amount of new addresses have not even spiked to 2017 all-time highs. How could the cycle be over? It doesn't make sense. People are speaking out of fear and they're speaking out of things that happened in the past. Please guys, share the playlist that I left in the pinned comment below. Let's get this to as many people as possible. People are spreading misinformation and it's honestly pissing me off. Notice the videos are much longer and much higher quality because I feel like somebody needs to fix this for sure. All right, so I kind of justified a lot of things. Just to briefly break it down for you, the catalyst is not going to be the decrease of issuance. It was the decrease of issuance, but it really is the uncontrolled demand that's going to come in without anyone saying, if it can or not, right? Because that's what peer-to-peer technologies mean. I think this is going to be the last leg of this bull run, and I think the bull run is going to last 8 to 12 months. I think it's going to be towards the end of 2022. I think this cycle is way different from the last one, so people need to stop harping in the past. And I think that there's a lot of room left, hence why I am selling and dumping Ethereum for these altcoins. So as you can see here, this is DBank. It kind of shows a little bit of the altcoins. You can see I'm heavily invested in UFO. This is Metaverse, which is kind of adding to what we were showing in the charts for Ethereum's price. I think Metaverse is going to get the most adoption, obviously. Illuvium, Metaverse, these are gaming. And I'm thinking about getting rid of erratics. It's been like, I've lost a good amount of money. I mean, I could hold it. It's okay. Like I'm okay with that. But I'm thinking about jumping harder into Gala. These are all three Metaverse. You don't need to get crazy. I know there's a lot of people out there. They're like diving super like low market cap, $10 million altcoins. Like just have some patience, guys. A lot of these are super undervalued in general. Like all of them are super undervalued. Like even UFO, Illuvium, even with the big market cap, they're so undervalued. Like I think Sandbox might be a top 10 cryptocurrency, like for real. Like I think it's gonna be top 10. This market will grow. We're gonna see much more adoption. Like I said here, Metaverse hasn't even started yet. Like it hasn't even started yet. And I think it might either be the same as NFTs or bigger than NFTs. So you don't need to buy market cap 10 mil. If anything, that's going to trick you into losing money. You think that just because it's a lower market cap that you're going to get more percentages. That is not always the case. You will lose all of your money in these low market cap altcoins. What you have to do is dollar cost average and have conviction in the ones that are going to work, right? Maybe not buy Sandbox because it's like the second biggest one, right? But maybe you can get into UFO or Illuvium. Hence what I'm doing, right? So people are moving off of Bitcoin. They're moving to Ethereum clearly with the, the active and new addresses. They're going to jump into the new narrative, which is the Metaverse. I don't know how much more I need to break it down for you, but yeah, how about this? I'll just make an altcoin video about the selective coins. We'll make a UFO, we'll make an Illuvium. So stay tuned to the channel. Also, we're going to be doing some more Ethereum on-chain metrics. This is what's going to happen in the next videos. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the post notification bell is on. And one more last time, guys, Please do me a favor, share this playlist with as many people as possible. I think the combination of them will give people a real perspective from macro environment, what's happening in Evergrande and all over the world, and all of this fear, uncertainty, and doubt, all the way down to the specific altcoins I'm buying. I have basically left no detail out and explained exactly why the bull run is not over. I'm still bullish. You need to pay attention to what's going on. Stop looking into the past. That's it for this video. I love what I do for a living. I hope you guys love what you do. That's it for this video. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism, subscribe for more video updates, and like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this, guys. Catch you in the next one.